And Rhett really was the best point I ever heard you make on this show. I mean, I sat back and went, I was wowed by it. Oh, it wasn't on?
Somebody didn't like my portal comment. I don't know.
What a shame.
I don't know if Tyler Van Dyke's listening or Kyle McCord's listening.
What a shame. Because I was blown away by it. I thought, boy, Jason really gets it. And then he looked at me and he says, we're off the air. I'm like, really? Oh,
we weren't just off the air. We had lost power to the building.
What a bummer. I just sit here and go, holy cow, that's well, it's too bad.
Unless Penn State does things secretly, they heard me say I like how they do it. They said that's it. Not for you.
I mean, what bothers me is that you've gone back to being you again, right? After being Nostradamus, you're now back to being Jason Lord. Darn. But the point we're making about the transfer portal is this. Look, you can use it to fix certain things.
Yeah.
I think you have to really get fortunate with whomever the quarterback happens to be. Because it's not the be-all, end-all and the quick fix that they need. Look at all the various transfers that have come through Ole Miss. Now, Jackson Dart has turned out to be the guy. Sanders is the backup. The third-string guy is an LSU transfer.
That's true.
Okay? Because you may not be able to, in your natural recruiting area, be able to recruit a quality quarterback. Now, Penn State's top guy is from Ohio, right across the line. Right there with him is from York, in state.
Yeah.
I mean, Penn State's done a great job with its quarterbacks. And, you go back to with James, Trace McSorley committed to him at Vanderbilt. And then when James took the job, he then just committed here and turned out to be terrific.
Right.
So I am still a big believer in getting.
A lot of people now use the comparison to college football being free agency, and I understand that. It's a valid point. I think.
Sorry, Jack Michaels is the play-by-play guy for the Oilers, Edmonton. Nice. I said 8 wins in a row, Jack. Awesome. So I think he sent me something back. He said, "Good call, by the way, on McCord."
There you go. There you go.
He said to me, Steve, good call on McCord.
There you go.
Because about going to the portal.
Yeah, I think to me it is very much like free agency. How many times do you see a team make that massive splash with a quarterback and pay the heck out of him, or that massive splash with another guy and win a Super Bowl? Doesn't happen often.
No.
Does it happen with Drew Brees? Yes, but it doesn't happen often. It happens.
Yeah, but Drew Brees was sought after by two teams.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't pass the Dolphins' physical. Yeah. That's why he didn't sign it. Because, Nick Saban may still be in the NFL.
Very well might be.
If Brees had passed that physical. Yep. Right? And then he goes to New Orleans and he was phenomenal.
Yep.
But, you don't see it happen that often.
No, you don't see it happen. You see guys plug in where they need. Patriots, Steelers, over the years. Mm-hmm. You see teams consistently be good for years to come because of that. And that's why I look at the portal and I think the way Penn State does it is the way to do it. That's the way they do it. You have a need, you plug in.
It doesn't mean somewhere down the road.
Exactly. It happens.
Where you look and say, okay, we have a problem here.
Right.
All right. And, for example, Wisconsin is searching for that guy. Right? Was Graham Mertz the solution down at Florida? No. But they tried to home grow with Mertz, and it didn't go. They changed coaching staffs. They brought in Mordecai. He got hurt, but it wasn't working anyway. And now they're going to go with Van Dyke. Okay. Was Hudson Card the answer at Purdue? No.
Nope.
Jack Plummer wasn't either. And I'm telling you, I'm not so sure he was just a short-term player at Louisville playing for a guy he knew after he transferred to Cal. You have, look at at Texas A&M. Look at the transfer guys they brought in at quarterback. Has it worked? No. Right? So you hit sometimes Joe Burrow.
Right.
You hit sometimes Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. There's no doubt that you can hit in it. But at the same time, or Caleb Williams, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not the be-all, end-all.
No.
To me, there's a lot of times where I'm looking at teams and I feel like they're rolling the dice. And you may end up with an upgrade there, but is it an upgrade that takes you to the promised land? And that's something that is a different topic altogether. And now with the 12-team playoff, is the guy you're bringing in enough to get you to the 12-team playoff? Is the guy you're bringing in enough to maybe get you one of what I think will end up being 7 at-large bids? I don't think they're going to go. They're not going to keep it 6 and 6.
No,
I think they'll change it to 5 and 7. And again, I'm looking at the names in the transfer portal. Guys that have experience, guys that have a resume, guys that have video. And I'd exponentially, by a wide margin, would rather have Drew Aller and Bo Perbula.
I agree. 100%.
By a wide margin.
Yeah, not even close.
Rather have that. I mean, Michigan, would they rather have J.J. McCarthy or these guys? No, of course they'd rather have J.J. But the issue with quarterback is you have multiple running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, DBs, linebackers, right? You have one quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are looking
all of those
to play.
guys rely on that one quarterback in a big way.
Yeah.
And if you break that away from your chemistry with your team, you can hurt yourself. And yeah, like I said, is there examples where it's worked? You just named quite a few. But I still think it's the other way is the way to go, because in a lot of cases you would rather have, as you said, the guy you already have, the backup you already have.
Right.
I still think that method works a lot better. And in a 12-team playoff, I think there's a good chance it will be proven even more.
Yeah, which I still think is going to get to 16 down the road.
At some point, yeah.
That's just me. I just think it's going to.
Yeah. 12's obviously a great start, but yeah, I don't think that's the end.
It's amazing how this sport plays from behind all the time, and that you have people saying how much they like the chaos of it. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't want to create chaos, and they do a job of doing that.
Right. They talk about the regular season being relevant.
Right.
That college football is the most relevant regular season. Okay, fair. So let's talk about that. Break that down for a moment. When you get to the last month of the season, there are 133 schools. How many of them are actually being talked about on game day over and over again? 7?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 8?
Yeah.
Well, now with this, you're going to be talking about 20. You're going to be talking about 20. The argument's going to be about 13, 14, 15, and 16 versus 10, 11, and 12. Right, that's fine. There's still going to be an argument somewhere about who should be in.
Or 1, 2, who's going to be that top.
No, yeah, but in terms of being in, top. It's always the end. I mean,
yeah, it's always the end who gets in and who
college
doesn't.
Basketball,
Absolutely.
It's about who's 69 and
who's
7.
on the bubble. Yep.
And 2009, Penn State and San Diego State were the last 2 teams out. My source was a good one. His name is C.M. Newton. He was my source for it. He told me when we were standing at Madison Square Garden, he says, imagine these 2 teams here. He said, we had to wait. I was talking to him about it. He said, we were delayed in announcing the 2009 field. He says, because we needed 2 more teams. He said, they finally sent us over San Diego State and Penn State. That's why I know they're the last 2 teams out. So, and Penn State, of course, ended up winning it. But that's where there's the quarterback you're bringing in, the guy that gets you over the top, the guy that gets you to the playoff. So you look at the conference championship games this year. Okay, so conference championship games. You had Iowa playing Michigan, right? Hill's a transfer from Wisconsin. JJ, of course, homegrown. Georgia, Alabama. Okay, each one homegrown, right? ACC title game. It's a little different. Plummer's a transfer, and there was a true freshman playing at quarterback for Florida State. So you get 1 out of 2 there. Pac-12 title game was Bo against Penix, both transfers.
Yeah.
And then the Big 12 title game was Oklahoma State and Texas. Yeah. And again, I've already talked about Ewers. All right. That technically Oklahoma State's guy, I want to say, was homegrown.
Homegrown, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe he is.
And, those are the primary ones out there. Because people are, and there are also people who are looking to move up in this thing. Right? They're trying to get themselves up to a different level, play at a higher level, challenge themselves at a different level, show the pros they can play at a higher level. But the 12-team playoff will change some of that because the goal now is to get to that. Can I get a quarterback that can get me over the top and get me at least one of those 7 at-large bids? And I think that's the way, that will be part of the standard of what people will use moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Draymond Green doing well. Holy mackerel.
Nurse handled that well. I can tell you. I'd say that. Especially post-game, too. I think that's probably the best you could handle a situation like that. As a league, I think obviously you've reviewed them 100 times already and it's not worked, but you've got to make it 101. And to me, look, this is a case where, you look at when going back to the 90s when Dennis Rodman got out of control for a couple times. I think it was the 97, because 98 he behaved himself pretty well. 97, he gets suspended 11 games for kicking the photographer. He headbutted the official. He got 6 there. That's it's just going to have to, at this point, every time Draymond Green does something like this, it's going to have to go up each time. And at some point, Steve Kerr, who has handled him as well as I think you can handle him, is going to have to say, okay, you're hurting this team. You've got to knock it off. You're hurting this team. We need you on the floor. We need your defense. We need you in the paint. We need you in every possible way. You can't be doing this. And that's what it's going to reach the point on with him.
Well, Golden State's an interesting proposition right now. They're older now.
Yeah, they're a lot older.
I mean, Curry and goodness, Green played against Penn State in the Big Ten tournament semifinals in 2011.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his rookie year, same as Kawhi.
And he was not a true freshman. Okay? And so he's older now. Right now, the Warriors would be out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And Wembanyama, by the way, is a great example of what I talk about all the time. You get the first overall pick in the draft, he's a great talent.
Mm-hmm.
They have won 3 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're more than a quarter of the way through the season now.
Mm-hmm.
They've won 3 games. And he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
No, this has nothing to do with his level of play. He's played well.
He's played well. Absolutely.
But guess what? They're not a good team.
No.
And one guy can't resurrect a mediocre team.
No. And you have a coach that I think he'd take almost with almost anybody.
Oh, sure. No. This has nothing to do with. This has nothing to do with the coaching of it. It has nothing to do with the star player.
Right.
But, and this is my point about Golden State. They're at the end of this run now.
There's no doubt. If they're not already at the end,
I think there's a
good chance the Lakers may have ended it last year.
Right? They may be at it now. Let's see how the next quarter of the season plays out. But it's going to take them a long time to get back.
Yeah.
That's why when you get to these runs, as fans, cherish them.
Oh, no doubt.
The fans don't cherish it.
No, they don't.
They don't understand that there's a window of opportunity to win the way pro sports are set up.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, the way college sports are set up too. I mean, Alabama kind of wandered for a long time until they got Nick Saban.
Right.
And you got to get the right guy at the right time. That's why I'm so bullish on James Franklin. I really believe he's the right guy at the right time for Penn State. And and he understands how a university works, right? I mean, graduation, commencement's coming up. It's a big deal to him coming up on
As it should
Saturday.
be. Absolutely.
It's a big deal. It's not lip service, a big deal, right? But Penn State is in the position it's in, so they can now fight to get to a playoff because of everything he has done as the leader of it, right? Because I look at other programs. I know this will be a tangent, but I look at other programs, right? It is easy for everybody to cite Kirby Smart with Mark Richt being there a long time, okay? And that you are absolutely justified when you talk about it. But don't end the conversation there, right? Because
in a lot of cases you have to.
Again, your point would be legitimate.
Yeah.
Please,
Agreed.
You can't argue it.
But then you say name me another.
Right? But then who's the other one? Right? Alabama, after Bear Bryant and A. Gene Stallings, wandered from coach to coach to coach. Right? USC has wandered from coach to coach to coach ever since John Robinson's first stint there. After he did a great job replacing John McKay.
Yeah, obviously Pete did a great job too, but the way he built the team.
But they wandered for a long time until they got to Pete,
right.
and then of course they were on probation. And since then they've wandered, and I look at so many Texas for years wandered.
Same after they got rid of Mac Brown, absolutely.
Right, and in a lot of ways LSU has wandered.
Sure. Yeah. They got rid of Miles, Yeah.
But even at the end with Miles, because remember, I did the Capital One Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, where Penn State won 1917. And there was a lot of NFL talent on that LSU team. And I know it rained, I got it. But I'm looking at them like, they did things that weren't smart.
Right.
But a lot of the programs wander. Florida State has been wandering. Oh, look, Jimbo won a national title. He won a national title. His quarterback he recruited, but the other guys, Bowden's group recruited, which included Jimbo. Then after that, they were a shell of a program the day he left, and they've wandered since. And
go with the other team that was just with. Texas A&M's another example.
They wander all the time. Nebraska's wandered. And that's why when you hit on the right guy, keep pushing with the right guy. Keep pushing with the right guy. Don't. There's got to be somebody better out there. Okay, over here in the back, give me your list. I want to see your list. I'm bullish on this guy for 1,000 reasons. And Penn State is in that position now with the expansion of the playoff. They're in that position now.
Where you're going to be there.
Where you've got a real shot to be there. Right? Now the schedule gets different. You've got to play at USC. You've got to see Tyler Van Dyke now in Wisconsin. You've got to play Ohio State here. You got Washington coming in, although Washington's going to be a completely different team when they come in.
Defensively they'll still be good, but offensively
they're losing 16 starters.
Yeah, they lose a significant amount.
16 starters they lose.
Yep.
So the Caps and the Wizards might be moving to Alexandria, Virginia.
I believe I did hear that rumor yesterday. Wow. I wondered if it was going to be happening.
$2 billion. $2 billion. In Alexandria. It's not that far from the arena they have now.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not... And I don't even know what the arena is. It used to be called the MCI Center. I couldn't tell you what it's called now. It's Capital Center?
Capital One.
Yep.
Capital One.
Capital One.
Bank, Capital One.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I've done a bunch of games in that arena. Georgetown, Big Ten tournament, things like that. So it's nice. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's a nice venue. I've been there
nice.
too. Yep.
What, to see Metallica?
No, I was there for a seminar, and I want to say it was a Wizards and Orlando Magic game back when Tracy McGrady was in Orlando.
Evidently, the Mystics may not go with them. the Mystics may stay in Washington in the current arena. They say they're going to use it for concerts and women's sports. Okay. Glenn Youngkin's the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. He said that this could provide over 30,000 new jobs. Alexandria is nice. Great suburb. And then Oklahoma City approved an arena tax, a 1% sales tax for 6 years to fund a new downtown arena that is expected to cost $900 million.
I am one of those that is the hostile audience when it comes to building downtown arenas. They work, but they also don't. I think that's it depends on the city you're in, and I think it depends on the public transportation you have, because the parking downtown in most areas is not good.
It's not good. I remember when the Patriots were going to move, had talked about, and they had a press conference, going to move to Hartford. They wanted to build it in Hartford, but they wanted to build it next to the Connecticut River. And I said, okay, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they look at the most. That is what they look at. They look at what's around and say, oh, look at the scenery. But you got to think about that guy that's buying the ticket.
But this isn't PNC Park.
No.
Okay, what is the key with PNC Park? It's a baseball park.
Yeah.
So what happens is it opens up. Where are the lowest stands?
Yeah.
The lowest stands are the ones that look at the skyline of Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Where are the lowest stands when it comes to football?
Mm-hmm.
There aren't any.
No.
What's your view?
No.
I'm in the broadcast booth at Acrisure Stadium. My view is, I don't see the river.
I don't see anything. Nope. Now, you've literally got to stand up at the concourse, literally, where you're going down the steps, and then you see the river. That's about all. That's about it.
Now, I understand the thought process of what it will do for downtown business. The Thunder, by the way, are going to agree to stay in Oklahoma City through 2050.
But it's a risk, and Sixers are another prime example. Obviously, they want to build that downtown arena.
See, I think that's wrong. I think they've got the perfect spot right now. They've got parking all over the place.
I 1,000% agree. That is the best possible spot you could be. Philadelphia did it right, and you're about to do it wrong. I agree 1,000%.
You need two critical things when it comes to stadiums or arenas.
Mm-hmm.
One is great parking. And two is infrastructure.
Infrastructure, absolutely. And they don't have number one if they move downtown.
They move downtown, lose the parking. They also lose the infrastructure because you're going to have to.
And I think it's a lot of ways.
See, that's one of the things that I think is very important here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. They've got to figure out a way for the state to make Park Avenue even wider in and out to get to the highway.
Absolutely agree.
That's me, because you need that. Now, going toward Atherton Street, it's impossible. You've got neighborhoods. But you can go out the other way. I've always felt that was important. Make it as, throw in another lane each side to make it easier, because you need parking. Like, you look at the Meadowlands. Meadowlands across from New York City, right? The stadium is, I know they put a lot of money into it. The stadium's actually okay. It's not great. But the parking all around, it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I remember working the Holiday Bowl out at Old Jack Murphy Stadium, which was right next to two interstates, and parking all around that stadium. I thought, no offense, this is actually a great situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of these teams are trying to get away from those situations, and I don't understand it. Now, and part of it, I think, also is... And I think that Detroit did it, obviously, with Little Caesars. I think... But
Little Caesars is out on the other side of the highway from Ford Field and Comerica, so they're using some of the same parking lots.
Absolutely.
Okay? Comerica and Ford Field are right next to each other, and just beyond that is Little Caesars. So they're able to utilize some of the same parking lots. But Kansas City has a great situation. Philadelphia has a phenomenal situation.
Second to none, yeah.
Pittsburgh's good,
not great. Parking could be better.
Again, because of the river.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're by the river. That's great, you're by the river. But what does the river eat up?
Mm-hmm.
parking spaces.
Quite a bit of parking spaces. Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Let's be realistic here.
Yeah. And a lot of places they're not. And a lot of it, I think, is, and I think this is the case in Philadelphia. They may disagree with me, but I think a lot of it is, okay, we're going to put it in a spot where we're going to clean that area up. And we're going to make it a nice venue, and we're going to make it a nice tourist attraction. We're going to make it perfect for public transportation to get in here.
Hey.
I just don't see it.
One of my favorite places is Fenway Park.
Yeah.
You can't park at Fenway Park.
No, you can't.
Okay. So, God. I know the show was done in 2 parts today. I realized the part where you really excelled was cut out.
Can you believe that? Maybe someday we'll release it. I don't know if the cameras are rolling somewhere.
If asked about it, I'll say it was brilliant, and they'll say, how was it brilliant? And I said, that really is between us.
There you go.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.